I feel like honestly, I didn't think much. I wasn't, trying to make the brand to be successful or trying to make a lot of money from the brand at the beginning. And I just want to, make a wine that's truly comes from the property because the property has been there for like over 100 years, 200 years now. And the previous owner started around like 1987. And our family purchased the property in 2014, but we haven't like never made any wine from the property at all. So when I was relaunching the brand, all I think about is just, trying to make something truly from the property and just by my own hands. So I was thinking during that time.
Welcome everybody back to the Barrels and Roots podcast. I am your host, Sean Trace, and I have an awesome guest with me. Can you tell people who you are and a little bit about what you do?
Hi, everyone. My name's Jiang, and I'm the proprietor of Duncan Peak Vineyards. And I'm also a consulting winemaker working for a company called Kale Wine Consulting. Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Now, you have a fun journey. How did you go about getting into the world of wine? What started you down this path?
So I started, I guess I got interested to wine mostly because my parents, they were wine distributor in China. So they were like importing and exporting wine to China from like all around the world. And I got interested into wine, and because they will usually brought back some like wine tasting sample, and I just like taste with them. And I started diving to, more of the winemaking part when I started my freshman year at UC Davis. So I actually studied the viticulture and enology at UC Davis. And after that, I fell in love with wine and decided that would be my career moving forward.
That's awesome. And was there a wine that they brought back that wine was like, oh my goodness, this is so amazing? The one that you just really remember?
No, not quite, because I was like super young at that time, and I didn't know like what wine was, and I don't know the concept of fermentation, and I don't know nothing about wine. But I saw all this like samples, and I just got interested, and after that I studied at UC Davis, and I learned more about wine and how the process is, and I fall in love.
That's awesome. What is your favorite part of the winemaking process?
I feel like every part, because I feel like wine industry is such a broad industry. It involves like a different aspect, such as you are pruning the vine, you are involving the agricultural part, and in the winemaking, in the cellar, you are doing all the hands-on thing. You are also doing all the chemistry. You are tasting the wine, and there's like a sensory aspect of wine involved. And besides that, there's like a lot of going on in the marketing, in the sales. You are like how you have to know like how to brand your brand. You have to know how to sell the wine. So I feel like there's like a lot of things in the wine industry that I love every part of it.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's a very, when I was learning about all of I started this podcast without a full understanding of what was involved in winemaking, but it was super interesting what I did know. But now that I've learned more, it's like wild. There's like so many things to do. It's really interesting because it's this, from growing the grapes to harvest to all of these steps, there's a lot to do. There's a lot to do,
Yeah.
And so it's so interesting to hear. When you were studying viticulture and enology, what part of those studies was like the most interesting for you?
I feel like maybe the sensory part. So I was working at the sensory lab at UC Davis. So we will do like a different experiment. We'll blind taste the wine and just like compare all the data, and we'll just have like a volunteer blind taste like all the wine and just record what they like the best and how do they think about the wine. Yeah, I feel like the sensory parts what actually got me interested in wine.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Mm,
because it is wine is a full sensory experience. It's not just, tasting. There's all of these things. You look at the color, you smell and textures. It's wild that there's so much that when you get into this world, it seems very basic, but it gets really deep really
mhm.
fast,
Yeah.
And for you, you've worked at both small family wineries and large corporate wineries.
Mhm.
What surprised you most about the differences between those two worlds?
I feel like these are completely two different world. Like for example, small winery. I was able to get chance to wear different hats. So I was doing
Mm,
some lab work and getting some like hands-on experiences in the cellar or like even in the vineyard. Um, and I was even like able to like help the owner to sell wine to do some like a marketing thing. So
yeah,
I was able to see the full picture of the wine, and I feel like I learned a lot and I learned fast because I was like doing everything. And in a
yeah,
larger winery, I feel like everything is more specialized because
mm,
efficiency matters, right? So instead of like have
yeah.
people to do everything, they want you to just like focus on like one role and just do it all day. So you will be like really good at it. So if I'm like pulling sample from the cellar, I'm pretty much like pulling sample all day or like all week. Yeah, if you are in the bottling line, you're pretty much in the bottling line all year round. Yeah, but I feel like
That's interesting.
yeah, for larger winery, um, the system are pretty impressive because they have to move fast and have people be like efficient, right?
Right? When I was a little kid, I got to go and visit this car factory in Kentucky. It was
Mhm.
the Chevy Corvette car factory,
Uh-huh.
and watching them make these cars, like, it was so cool. But yeah, you're just like any big company, it was super specialized. There was
Mhm.
one guy who would
Mhm.
put this one part on the door, and
Right.
that was his job.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. He sit there,
Mhm.
in the next car and all day, and he was really good at that. But
Mhm.
you know, I've also been to a place where they make custom cars and one person does everything. And you're right,
Mhm.
because it's two different things. They are
Mhm.
two different, very different jobs.
Yeah.
One person is a highly specialized specialist, for
Mhm.
lack of better words, and the other person is this broad generalist. But which world do you prefer? Do you prefer to be more in the big specialized thing, or do you like to be, in the world where you have to wear many hats?
For me, I actually love to wear different hats. I feel like that's how like keep me interest in the wine, just keep me like moving and just learning more thing as I'm like learning from like different people. Yeah.
I love that. I love it because, and everyone has their own thing they like. But
Mhm.
out of all the wineries you worked with, was there one moment where you felt, okay, I love wine and I'm a winemaker now? Was there like that moment that just popped for you?
Yeah, definitely. So I think it might be at the moment that I started making wine under my own label. So that's like the moment you realize, oh, there's like no one else will be responsible for your wine. You are the one in charge. No one will be there to like catch you if like something go wrong. So I am the
I
person
love
that's
that.
like in charge. Like you have to make all the picking calls, making the blending decision, and also like choose like facing different like choices like during the winemaking process. And in the end, you have to sell the wine, right? I feel like that
Hmm.
when I start to make wine for myself, I feel like I am the true winemaker now.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
I I'm not a winemaker, but I have a similar experience. And
Mhm.
it involved like when I was a kid, um, like when I was younger, we wear, go out on a sunny day, you wear a baseball hat. And what a
Mhm.
lot of people do, they wear the city or their sports team. And suddenly I realized like I haven't lived in some of the cities that I've lived in a long time. And I was wearing one of their baseball hats. And I was like, you know what, this is not me. This is not who I am. But I'm getting to the point. It's a little weird story.
Mhm.
But as I grew my companies, I made some barrels and roots hats for this one
Mhm.
podcast, and I made some hats for my other podcast. But my point being, when I was able to show things
Mhm.
that was for myself, it
Mhm.
became more powerful. I'm wearing my hat and like, welcome to my podcast. I've worked on content for huge podcasters and other people, but it wasn't as special as when I started making my own. When this is done, I'm going to sit there and me and my editor, we're going to go through this and make it good because it's me. It's for me. It's for my thing, and like I
Yeah.
want to be proud of it. So I
Yeah.
love what you're talking about there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like something you created. You should definitely be like proud of,
Yeah.
right? Mhm.
Right? When I wear my hat around for my company or for my brand, I'm like they're like people are like, what hat is that? I'm like, well, now that you ask, it's for my company. It's like it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Start
And when
introducing
you
the
get
company.
exactly, you start doing it, and it's just about that feeling of ownership is really special because it's like, I'm a father and I taught many children for many years, but and I'm very proud of all the kids I ever taught. Every
Mhm.
child that I ever taught when I was a school teacher, I'm very proud of them. But
Mhm.
my daughter, I'm way more proud of, because that's the one that I'm working with. And when she messes up, it's personal. Like, oh gosh, she made a mistake. What did I do wrong? But she does something right, you feel good too. And
Mhm.
so I think that from all of the winemakers that I've met, they tend to describe making their wine as kind of like raising a child. It's like it's their baby,
Right.
and it's a very personal thing. When it goes well, it's personal. When it goes poorly, it's also personal, and there's all of that to it.
Yeah,
Um,
that's totally correct. Yeah, I feel like people put a lot of passion into wine. It's like just watching your child to grow and also like, to be success.
Yeah, and sometimes children have problems, and you gotta like get it back in line, And that's from what I hear of people. Like sometimes the wine just starts going this way, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And then you gotta like adapt and learn. And like that's the beauty though of this art is that things don't always go as planned, and
Mhm.
you as the winemaker have to learn to kind of dance with the wine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me ask you this. You've worked harvest in South Australia. What did that experience teach you that California harvest did not? Is there a big difference between California harvest and Australian harvest? Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So I think from the winemaking part, there are not much, like huge differences between California and Australia. But when I was in Australia, I got chance to meet people like from like international intern from all around the world, like from France, from Italy. But usually when you work in California harvest, you don't just see that many like international intern because people from France
Mm.
they will be harvesting at the same time as California. So like French people
Oh
won't be
yeah.
in California during that time, but Australia is like a different season. So I got a chance to met a lot of like French people, Italian people, just traveling to Australia to do the harvest during their like off season. So that was a great experiences.
That's actually wild. I never thought about that, like, that the season will allow it because yeah, you're right. Like, if it's harvest in California, it's also harvest in France and
Mm-hmm.
other places. But, I guess South Africa and Australia would be on a different schedule, which is really
Right.
interesting, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's those little things that you don't think about.
Mhm.
Um, Let me ask you this. If you were, uh gonna be rebranding, relaunching Duncan Peak Wines. You did. It was a relaunching Duncan Peak Wine Vineyards is a big
Mhm.
move. What was the vision when you stepped into that project? Because I mean, it's ambitious. What was
Mhm.
your vision with that?
Yeah. So at the beginning, I feel like honestly, I didn't think much. I wasn't, trying to make the brand to be successful or trying to make a lot of money from the brand at the beginning. And I just want to, make a wine that's truly comes from the property because the property has
Nice.
been there for like over 100 years, 200 years now. And the
That's
previous owner
amazing.
started around like 1987, and our family purchased the property in 2014, but we haven't like never uh, made any wine from the property at all. So when I was relaunching the brand,
Mm,
all I think about is just trying to make something truly from the property and just by my own hands. So I was thinking during that time.
that's awesome. It's a you want to respect the tradition, but you also
Mhm.
want to put your own signature on it. How do you do
Right.
it in a way that is uniquely you? And I mean, that's
Mhm.
that's that's a beautiful way to approach. I mean, I think that's something that all, the wine industry looks at because it's like you do have this tradition, but like how can you respect tradition but also, say how can we grow? How can we do something different?
Yeah, yeah, just add a little like personal touch in the wine
Right?
to the brand story. I feel like yeah, that would be fun thing to
That's
do.
awesome.
Mhm.
Y- Yeah, right. Um and as you start going forward, what's your vision for as you continue this journey?
I feel like I was continue making wine from the property for sure, but I also want to just explore more options. Like my favorite grapes is Chardonnay. I love drinking Chardonnay, but unfortunately we don't grow Chardonnay at the property, so
Mhm.
I'm planning to just making wine from different sites, from different appellation to just like play around with different winemaking style. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, there is that passion. You have to find to do what you love. Like someone asked me why I like doing podcasts. I'm like, I love having conversations with people.
Mhm.
And if you're doing something that you don't really love, I had a friend who was like, I want to start a podcast, and I said, why? And he says, because I want to get more business. And I said, but hang on. Do
Mhm.
you love talking to people? He's like, not really. I don't really enjoy talking to people too much. And I said, you
Mm.
might want to rethink that then, because if you don't love it and you don't have that passion for it, it might not be the best step for you. So I think that it's important to have that passion and to find ways to do that. But you started as like a lab manager at Brasswood Cellar while relaunching a vineyard, and that sounds like intense. That's a lot going on.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What did a typical day look like in a season in that part of your life?
Yeah. So Brasswood was on a like 8 hour schedule, like from like 7 to 0 o'clock schedule every day, and like during harvest, you can easily turns into like a 12-hour shift. And I feel like the intense part was after my shift over at Brasswood, I will still need to go up to Hopland, which is an hour drive from St. Helena, and just check my own vineyards, just walking the blocks and just taste all the grapes and just making all the calls to see if we want to pick the grapes. So I feel like during the peak of harvest, I usually work around like 14 hours to 16 hours because it's like two different jobs, right? I have to go
Right.
finish the brasswood thing and then go to the vineyard to do my own thing and to do all the winemaking.
Well, respect the hard work. I respect the hustle. I think that people don't understand when you're growing. Like, um, my business
Mm,
is rolling now, but there
mhm,
was a long time where it was like I was putting in hours and it was my second gig, and
mhm,
it was like there are times where people don't realize that the energy needed to launch something, to restart something. And, when you get to the point where you're like, you can look back and go, yes, I got through that. And it was a wonderful time. But then when you're in it, you're like, ah, it's very. My workers got me this and it says it's a little like snow globe, and it's a
uh-huh.
house on fire,
Oh.
and it says, "I'm fine. Everything is fine." Because like that's. I was like, yeah, and it's like I was like, that's what it's like running your business. It's
Yeah,
like I'm fine.
yeah.
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
But at the reality is like you're constantly one of the things that I love is the idea of pivoting. You
Mhm,
always are having to turn and
mhm.
adapt to a situation. Do you find that something that you have to do a lot in winemaking?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I have to be flexible, either like dealing with weather or like what comes out during like fermentation. I just have to be flexible and always have some like a plan B or like option to choose if something go wrong. And but yeah, we have to change a lot because the world of wine is constantly changing too.
Right? That's a good point. The world of wine is changing. Which is wild. You have an art form that is thousands of years old, but it's still evolving.
Mhm,
It's still changing and the market's changing and all that. It's really interesting, to me.
mhm.
But coming from your parents imported fine wine, and did you is China a growing market for wine? Is this something that's getting more popular there? I live in Vietnam, and it's
Mhm,
wild that I'm so happy. When I first moved here
mhm.
a long time ago, wine was just not here. But now I'm like, I can go to a great wine shop and get a great bottle of wine. But is the same thing happening in China?
Yeah, yeah. China is definitely a growing market. I think a lot of people starting to, like drink wine, get to know wine, maybe around like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And now you have like all the wine coming from around the world into China, like from Chile, from Australia, like from American wine, French wine, they are coming to
Hmm.
China. It's a growing market, but it's also a competitive market because you are compete yourself, compete with other brands around the world.
Right? And
Mhm.
that's the thing that I think people are, we are entering into this time where I was reading the number of wineries that are now in California, and it's an insane number. It's a
Mhm.
very big number. And, the competition is there. But it leads to my next question. Like, how do you think people can stand out in a crowded market? What do you think wineries need to do? And what are you doing to really be seen?
Mm, yeah, I feel like you have to do what you are good at, right? You cannot just
Mm,
do everything. uh you cannot just like satisfy everyone's need. Let's say if you are good at producing pinot from like Sonoma, you should just like focus on like producing good pinot instead of if people are drinking Cabernet, you want to pivot yourself and start making Cabernet, and now you are having like 10 different variety on the table, and people just don't know what to choose from. I just feel like if you are good at something, you should be, focused on that thing, and that will make your brand stand out.
I One of the things that I love in living in Vietnam, and I think it's something that's common across Asia, is how people love to specialize in food, especially.
Hmm.
We here like one of the best restaurants in Ho Chi Minh City, in
Mm,
Saigon, is a
mm,
little place down the alley right over there.
uh,
And like There's no restaurant. It's a street food. But we know the lady my wife and daughter eat there almost every day. It is called bunvet, which is a thicker noodle. Vat is duck, so it is like duck noodle soup, and it is heavenly. It is so good. When you drive down the alleyway, from the beginning of the alleyway, you can smell it, and it's just like, oh my goodness. No one comes down this alleyway. I guarantee you, if someone from like the Michelin company went down there and tried that, she would have a Michelin star.
Wow.
For sure. It is so good. It is hands down one of the best foods I've eaten ever in Vietnam. And we have great food. She makes one dish.
Oh, wow.
She makes one dish very, very, very well. And you see this, like, if she made 20 dishes, I doubt that all 20 dishes would be great. But instead, she makes one, and it's amazing. And I think that there's something to be said for being super good at something, because if you get too diverse when you're too small, it can really be very challenging to do it well, you know?
Yeah. And I feel like you kind of lost your identity if you are just, just copy what other people are doing.
Right? Yeah, you just copy, like, someone, I have a YouTube channel for my daughter as well, and we make educational content. We do it together, and now, people are like, oh, you should try to be more like this, try to be more like that. And I said, but I look at them, I was like, those people are awesome, but we're not them. I can't do that because they do that, and they do it perfectly. We can try to copy, we can learn from them, but you can't be them. You can be inspired by, but you have to find your own way, and I'm sure the same is true in winemaking and with wineries. How do you find your voice, your signature, your style?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You became the first employee at Kale Wine Consulting. What does consulting give you that working for a single winery does not?
Yeah, working with the consulting company, it's fun. We work with different clients, like small brands, big brands, like different style, and also trying to achieve different goals for our clients. So I feel like I'm constantly learning how to solve problem in the best interest of different clients. So because you have to talk to each client, and each client is different, and and I think working for a consulting, it also gives me more flexibility with my schedule, which it means a lot to me. Especially when I'm like trying to build my own brand, I really need that flexibility.
Yeah, I love it. Flexibility is a huge thing, and it's an awesome thing to be able to have like true flexibility, And when you are working on a project, and you feel overwhelmed, how do you kind of keep balanced and not get too overwhelmed?
I usually just like go out and just hang out with friends and just have a nice dinner, and on the other day, like the next day, I will just reset and start over and just like start fresh.
I love that. Hopefully have a good glass of wine as well in there,
Oh, definitely.
Right? Let's shift to that. What do you like to drink? What's your favorite? You said you like Chardonnay, right? Are there any other? What else? What type of Chardonnay do you like? Give me some flavors that like really make a good Chardonnay for you.
So the style I like in Chardonnay, I usually don't like too oaky, too ripe Chardonnay, but I love like a well balanced Chardonnay. So it has the acid in there, but also have the ripeness of the fruits, but you also keep the like freshness of the acid. Yeah, so that's.
I love that.
But I love to try like different wine, like funky wine, natural wine. I just love to try different things, and I usually trying to pair the wine with what I'm like eating during that time.
That's awesome. Can I ask you this? If you were meeting someone, say you go out you meet a friend, and they're
Mhm.
like, I don't know about wine, and you had to give them 3 glasses of wine. Like you're
Mhm.
gonna try a red, a white, and something else.
Mhm.
What 3 glasses of wine would you give them to get started?
Um, I feel like I want to get them something like a lighter style that's more like fruity. Maybe for the red, I would
Yeah.
suggest like Pinot Noir, and so it's more like on the lighter body side and also more fruity. And for white wine, maybe I would do a like a sweet Gewürztraminer that's really
Mm.
fruity and provide the like a lychee smell that's like for people who don't drink wine. I feel like that's like the best way to get started, and then you can move more advanced. You can try wine that's dry, that doesn't have sugar, and you can just move forward from there.
I love that. I
Mhm.
love that. Well, I got another question for you. Like, you had a background in economics. Do you think that that's helped you? That background in the financial side has helped you as you've been growing your winery?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm actually doing all the bookkeeping myself, been doing all the accounting myself. And I feel like having the background in economics, I'm really confident about the wine industry. Um, because I know, like right now, a lot of people are worried about the wine industry. Feel like the wine
Yeah.
industry is disappearing. Wineries not selling enough wine, or like younger people are not drinking wine. Um, and people feel like wine industry is uncertain, then they kind of lose the hope of like being in the wine industry. But I after like my major at UC Davis, I know economy like goes up and goes down, which is the same for the wine industry. There's always a cycle in the economy that moves down and moves up, and which is the same for the wine. People drink less, people drink
Yeah.
more, and I feel like I just didn't like lose any confidence with the wine.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
It's interesting too because when we think about those wines, and I know from a business perspective, there's certain things, and people are worried about the numbers. But like at the end of the day, people are gonna. It's been around for thousands of years,
Yeah.
and the wine industry has had challenges. There was prohibition in the U.S. That was a tough time for the alcohol industry, but people sought out the product because it is a great product, and life is up and down, and people want to be able to have that joy that comes from a
Mhm.
glass of wine, and it's not just from the alcohol; it's from the of all of the types of alcohol. It brings this community.
Mhm.
When you sit down over a glass of wine, it's
Mhm.
not something that you can do with we're not going to pop open a beer and I'm going to be like, hey, let's share this 4 ways. This is not what you do.
Right.
But you can open a bottle of wine and have that. And I think that in our day and age, I think one of the things that we so sorely need is more community. And
Mhm.
so I don't know. I know everyone's worried, but I do think that it's going to come back. But I think sometimes when you have time periods where you have challenges, it's a good time for people and industries to reinvent themselves, to look
Mhm.
hard and see, you know, how do you think that your winery can reach a new generation of future wine drinkers? Like, how can you get these people to come and join you?
Yeah. So because I'm Chinese, I feel like there are a huge audience in the Asian community that should
Yeah.
be join into the party and start drinking wine. There are some like Asian people are starting drinking wine, but for me, I'm trying to like pair my wine with Asian food. So like trying to encourage people to have a glass of wine when they are eating Chinese food, or drinking a glass of wine when they are eating sushi instead of like drinking sake or beer. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's like the audience I want to reach, and also trying to have more people get to know wine better. and just join the
That's
community.
awesome.
Mhm.
Right? It's about that. It's about building the community and making people feel welcome.
Mhm.
People from around the world, and I think that that's something too is I feel like the wine industry got hyper focused on one type of client. And that
Mhm.
was the client that sold and they came in and they bought. But
Mhm.
then when that client stopped buying, you have to look, there are other people out there. There's a lot of people out there, And I was talking to someone last night from South Africa, talking about South African wine. And
Mhm.
there's people around the world. And I think if you hyper focus on one group, you miss out on all of these other people that could be wanting to enjoy something.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I feel like what you're doing with the podcast, it's the perfect thing to just like show people, like have people start to curious about wine, and because they know the
Yeah.
story, and they will start maybe like just trying to order a glass of wine when they go to a restaurant, right?
Right?
Oh,
Right? It makes it a little bit more less intimidating because when you
mhm.
meet these people that are making the wine and they're just like, wow, these are normal, cool people.
Right.
And, that's the future. I want to when I planning this summer when the weather gets nicer and it's a little bit more pretty to film. I'm going to be coming back and starting to film at different wineries
Oh,
and just
wow.
starting to show like this is me at this winery. Let's go check out and see what they're doing because
Mhm.
that's my background is like making vlogs and stuff. So I'm super excited to be going into these places and going, okay, this is where we're at. Let's check this out and let's
Mhm.
see what it's all about and following the process. Because for me, do you know my favorite TV show was
Mhm.
the TV show Dirty Jobs?
Well,
I love watching Mike Rowe go places and I love watching him like show me about all these things. To me, it's like, dude, this is awesome. Like
uh-huh.
to go and see what is a punch down? Like show me what the heck is a punch down? Like how do we do this?
Oh.
The show, like how do you sample? Like I've seen these videos or there is the image that they have online about how people sample wine from the barrel and like it's like this glass thing. Everyone's dressed in these perfect outfits and it's like so stylized because it's a photo shoot.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to see the photo shoot. I don't want to see the person like holding it and like looking. I want to see the guy that's like, oh God, I don't want to mess this up. That's
Right.
what I want to see because
Yeah.
I'm sure that more often than not, it's the person who's sitting there like, oh, let's get this right.
Mhm.
That's the type of thing that I think makes things. And I know that brands need to be polished and we want to look like we're perfect and like,
Mhm.
but I think that that's one thing that like Gen Z and millennials are definitely not huge fans of. They want to see authentic. They want to see the
Mhm.
real human experience. Like, oh, you made wine? Cool. Like, how does that work? Like,
Mhm.
how do you do that?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But for you, like, if you were to go back and give yourself some winemaking advice for when you were just getting started, what advice would you give yourself?
Um, for advice for myself, um, I feel like everything happened for a reason. Um,
Yeah.
so I have some challenging in the past, and I have some like problem in the past. But I feel like it's all this challenging thing or like problem taught me how to solve problem in the future, and I don't make the same mistake again. But I feel like everything happened for a reason. So if you are like making mistake in the past, don't feel like you shouldn't be making the mistake. It's always good to make mistake at the beginning instead of like 10 years later. You realize, oh, you are making the mistake all the way through. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Mhm.
It's better to make those mistakes early and learn how to fix them
Yeah.
than to make them late and you're like, "Oh man, it's too late to like kind
Mhm.
of resolve this." But like I love that. And I
Mhm.
think that one of the things that I told my daughter and she's like, "I never want to make any mistakes." And I said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Mm.
Slow down." I said, "Mistakes are good. It's good to make mistakes because a mistake can teach you where you went wrong and how to be better. But it's good to like but I would say don't make the same mistake again.
Mhm.
Try to make sure that you're making that mistake one time. I had an employee, oh man, she came to work the other day and she's
Mhm.
like crying. I said, "What happened?" And she's like, "I got a ticket." And I was
Mhm.
like, "What for?" And she was like, "I was driving my motorcycle on the sidewalk." And I
Oh.
was like, "Oh no." And she's like, "Someone took a photo of me and they sent it in and I got in trouble." And I was like, "Oh." That's so horrible. I said,
Mhm.
"Don't do that again." It's so sad. I'm so sad. And we kinda helped her out. Everyone pitched in to help cover the price of the ticket, and
Oh.
she was a little bit happier.
Mhm.
The next day, she came in crying again.
Oh.
And I said, "What happened? Why are you still crying?" She's like, "I got another ticket." And I said, "What did you do?" She's like, "I drove on the sidewalk." I was like, "Again?" And she says, "At the same spot." And I was like, "Are you serious? Like, you did the same thing 2 days in a row that you just lost this massive amount of money on?" And she said, "Yes, I did." And I said, "Okay, now I have no sympathy for you this time because, like, you should have learned your lesson the first time."
Right.
But, it's like that.
Mhm.
I mean, we're all gonna run into these challenges, but can you learn from it and not be like her?
Mhm.
Because that's crazy, man. That's a
Mhm.
lot of money too that she lost. Poor thing. She's feeling better though. We also helped her out, but we said, "Not a third time.
Yeah.
Not a third time. None of us are helping you out the third time.
Uh-huh. Yeah, she gotta learn from the lesson and not
You
happen
gotta
again.
learn.
Yeah, you gotta learn.
Not again, right?"
Mm.
When you look ahead in 5 or 10 years, what kind of wines do you want to be making?
Um, actually in 2023, I started another label under Duncan Peak. It's called OTIA. It actually came from my Chinese name, which we focus on single vineyard, single variety from Napa appellation. So 23 we made a Chardonnay, and 24 we also made a Chardonnay. But yeah, moving forward, I feel like we should just like try different variety from single vineyard in Napa, and maybe just try different fun winemaking style and just doing something new for the other brand. But for sure, I will still continue to make the wine from the Duncan Peak property because I feel like that's the legacy from the past. It has a lot of rich history in the property.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that.
Hmm.
You have a strong foundation, and then from there you can grow,
Hmm.
So I love it. Well, where can people look to find more about you and the wines that you make?
Yeah, you can go up to our website, DuncanPeakWines.com, or follow us on Instagram. We'll be under the same name, Duncan Peak Vineyards.